Hey guys, in this tutorial we'll be learning how to run our first code in HTML. Now you want to become a web developer and you're like, oh, where do I start from? I want to develop websites, something like W3 schools, popular websites, Udemy, Quora and the likes of that. Where do I start from? I don't know where to start from. Here is the basics of web development. You gonna start with this before you can become a web developer. I know the word we are is a tech word and people are really going into tech. So we starting from HTML. HTML is hypertext markup language. It is not a programming language, but it is a markup language. It creates the structure of a web page. So I'm going to show you what we are up to right now. Now, here I'll be using Visual Studio Code, as you can see here. Visual Studio Code. This is a software for coding on systems, on laptops. It's a software for, we have other softwares for coding. Some people use Notepad and the likes of different coding softwares. But here we'll be using VS Code, which is Visual Studio Code. Now, when you download your Visual Studio Code, basically this is what you'll be seeing. Looks like this is what you'll be seeing. So, I've created my folder already. So if you are yet to create your folder, I would advise you to go and create your folder. Now my folder is saved on the desktop and I named it Let's Take It. Here is it, Let's Take It. Yeah, so I'd select the folder. When I select it, I see it open a new window for me and telling me, okay, yeah, this is the files we have created under Let's Take It. Now this is where my workspace. This is where I do my code. This is where every code I want to write, I write them right in this software here. Now we're not going into CSS or JavaScript because we are basically just starting. Yeah, we are learners, so we're basically just starting. So we're starting from just HTML. Unlike this code you see here now, we're not going to be writing complex code as this. As you can see, we have the CSS here, and you see the CSS is not that long though. You see the JavaScript, you'll be like, what the heck is all this? We have not started that. We're still on HTML, right? So let's get started with what we're doing here. Yeah, so HTML was HTML. As I said earlier before I started, I said HTML is hypertext markup language. It creates the structure of the web page. Now, the first thing I want us to know is what is the first thing we're going to write in our HTML. The first thing we're going to write in our HTML is the doc type. Now, in HTML, in Visual Studio Code, I have some shortcut I just used to get it. I can just type HTML5 HTML5. Okay, it's still loading, but meanwhile I can't waiting for it to do. So I'm going to write out the code. Okay, since it's coming out, here's the shortcut now. HTML5. I see this, the second one, HTML:5. I click on it. Then when it brings out the board. This is what we call a boilerplate, a ready-made structure for it. So I'll just have to change my title and call it my first web page. Yeah, let's call it my first web page. So now I'm going to explain every details of what you're seeing here. The line 1 you're seeing here, that's the exclamation doc type HTML. This is basically telling the the browser that, oh, hey browser, what we're doing here is very simple. The document type in which I'm running is HTML, is in HTML format. That's why you're seeing the doc type. This doc stand for document. The document type I am dealing with here is what is HTML. That's the document type I'm dealing with is the HTML. So basically this software is telling the browser that, hey browser, the language I'm dealing with here is HTML, which is the hypertext markup language. So I want my outputs to be in that form, no styled, only default styling should be there, since I'm not including my CSS for now. Then line 2 here we have the HTML, then the attributes language. Now I'm basically telling the browser that, hey browser, the language I'm writing this is English and I want you to interpret it for me in English. That is basically what I'm saying in line 2. Then the line 3 is the ed tag. Now tag tags are what? Um Let me say, I want to look for a simple example. Okay, let me just say a tag is opening, and we have an opening tag and a closing tag here. As you can see in line 3, we have the opening tag, and if I click on it, line 8 will also be highlighted because they are both related. This is the head tag, this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag in line 8. So that means for every tag, for every opening tag, there should be a closing tag. But we have an exception. We have what we call the self-closing tags. Self-closing tags are tags that don't need opening tag. They don't need when you open them, they don't need the closing tag, like the BR tag, the HR tags, and the likes of that. They don't need any other. They don't need closing. They don't need opening tags. They are self-closing tags. They close themselves. So, for example, this head now is not a self-closing tag because it has an opening tag in line 3 and a closing tag in line 8. So the head is basically consisting of the title, it's consisting of the meta, consisting of the linking of the HTML to the CSS, consisting of linking of JavaScript, consisting of meta and a whole lot of things. So that is what the head is for. Then, as you can see, a meta chassis UTF-8, you basically don't need this now. We'll get back to that later. Then meta, you really don't need meta for now. Because you just basically just starting all this. You basically don't need all this now. Then for line 4, as you can see here, meta name viewport. This is just let me say HTML responsive. It's called HTML responsive. Okay, I want HTML. Immediately the website loads. The first thing the initial screen I want to have is 1.0, not less than that. Now the next one, which is line 5, is the title tag. You can see once I click on the opening tag, the closing tag also got highlighted, and once I click on the closing tag, opening tag also. So they are telling me that these two have to work together. If I open this without closing it, it will be useless because it is not a self-closing tag. I have to close it up. So this my title is what we usually have here. I want to show you something now. I've saved my work. I want to show you what's the function of this title. Where do we see the title on my HTML in my website? Now there are two ways I can run my code in my HTML on my using VS Code. I can either come here, I either come to extension, or I just press Ctrl Shift X, either of the two. Then I'll search and say live server. Sorry, the V here is not working, so I have to use my on-screen keyboard. Yeah, live server. Okay, I'm not connected to the internet right now. Let me show you. It's installed already. I want to show you live server. So you see exactly if you want to run your Java how would I say it now? All right, live server. You want to run your code. This is a live server. You just come here, you install it. I've installed it, so I don't want to install it. Uninstall it now. I've installed it, and so I can just run my code without I say I don't need to refresh, but I'll just run my code. So if you finally install this, you can come to HTML and say, okay, you right click and say, okay, HTML open with live server, or you press Alt+Alt O. So just open it. Yeah, it do take time to come up at first. But I will not want us to delay. I will show you the other way I can run this file. I'll come here to this index of HTML. Then I'll right click and say, okay, copy path. Then I'll go to Chrome. Paste it. Oh yeah, it's open itself. Can you see it? Okay, let me close this so we'll understand what I'm saying. Let me paste and go. Then I'll see it. Now look at it. Look top here. At the top here, I have my first web page. If I come to my code and I edit that, and I say, okay, let me say download your musics here. Yeah, if I save this and I go to my live server, I'm gonna see, okay, let me refresh. And you see it, you see download your music here. It depends on whatever is in my title, will always appear at the top right, at the top left hand of my web page. Now I think my live server is opened. Yeah, so I'll be using the live server instead of using that. So that is basically what we're doing. Now if I was to link my CSS, let's imagine I have a CSS file. I'll just say, okay, my CSS link, and I'll link it, but I don't have a CSS file, so I'm not going to link that. I don't have a JavaScript file since we're working on HTML alone. So next up here, I'll be going to JavaScript headings. HTML headings. So what are HTML headings? HTML headings are basically headings in HTML. What I used to write and what I used to write my headings. What I used to, okay, I want this one to be bigger than this and this one to be bigger than this. So I'm going to make a basic example here. For my HTML headings, I have heading 1 to 6 now. It's descending. Oh yeah, it's descending. I'll say descending because H1 is the biggest, followed by H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So I'm going to try that out. H1 is not a self-closing tag, so it opens the opening tag and closing tag. And I'll say this is the biggest. This is the biggest heading. Sorry. Then the next one, I'll say H2. This follows. Then H3 follows that. H4 smaller than H3. H5, this is the second. To the last. And H6, which is the last one. H6, this is the smallest. This is the smallest heading. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to save this and open with my live server and see what I'm seeing. Can you see? This is the biggest. Okay, sorry. There's a little mistake there. Okay. I have to pull back this. Yeah, simple. So I'm saving it. Oh, sorry. Just a little error. Yeah, back. So I'm going to open it with my live server and see. This is my H1, the biggest heading. My H2, this follows. H3 smaller than H3. This is H4. This is H5. This is H6. So this is how big they are. It depends on how. And if you notice, they are all bolded. And you'll be like, oh, if you want to write something that is not bolded, how do I do it? Yeah, that's why we have what we call the paragraph tag. The paragraph tag is a tag that is not a self-closing tag. It helps you to write notes easily on your website. For example, let me do one paragraph. It's just a P. You have P tag. That's what we call paragraph. Let me write some things. Lorem, and I save it. So my live server. Now you can see this is the paragraph tag. Can you see? If you're trying to use this lorem, you can just type. I just use an example. You can just get. So I just use this lorem as an example. Not really, it doesn't really mean anything. So it's just like, can you see that it's not bold? It is just normal, as a normal text. It's not bold. So that is what HTML is for. Sorry, the paragraph tag is for. The biggest heading, H1, next one, the H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, then the paragraph tag. So that's basically what we'll be doing for this class. Then the next class, we'll be moving to the next topic. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment. Subscribe for the next video. If you don't subscribe, you might miss out. So make sure you subscribe. Thank you. You are really wonderful. Thank you very much.